No. Hello, hello, hello. We're back. And we are going to, or I'm going to read another passage, and then Renee and I are gonna from the Reclamation. And this was written a year ago, but I seem to write forecasts a year in advance. And honestly, I think you said it last episode, Renee, they're always relevant. And I think this is true for most people, speakers, energies, they're always transforming. Things are always relevant to where we're at and the perspective that we are ready to receive. This is so funny. I was going to read something totally different, and now I'm switching again
Yep.
because I'm going to switch to a passage called Relativity.
Oh, I like it.
So I'm going to blast right in. I wrote this September 29th of last year, but I have been really seeing, feeling, being aware of this. And Renee, we'll talk about it after because it's just becoming very prevalent in my life. And Renee and I, we just talk, and we'll share examples after. But so it's called relativity. Everything is relative, everything. One can only see and know from their perspective, from their pool of intelligence and understanding. There is no right or wrong. There is no good or bad. There is no equality. However, there is equilibrium, which is there's no equality. However, there is equilibrium. Okay, here we go with that. Every single person's definition and understanding of every single word and concept has a multitude of variations. There is never an exact match of comprehension ever. And in some circumstances, two people's understanding of a concept or a word can be worlds apart. Therefore, all understandings are a relationship of collaboration. They are infinite and fluid. This is where equilibrium comes in. If equality cannot exist, which it can't, due to an impossibility of an exact match of thought, all thoughts and concepts are in a constant state of trying to maintain equilibrium. Why is this relevant and important? Because we are moving from a finite energy and a theory of a particle based reality to an infinite wave reality. Energies that are in constant state of flux and flow, ever changing and always seeking equilibrium. We have been living and believing in an extremely segmented, disjointed energy of separation and disparity with a false perception and a goal of an unattainable concept of equality. This is changing very rapidly and efficiently. Every single thing that we have known will be unknown. Not that we will forget, but rather we will start to remember. Things will start to not add up, to not make sense. All the theories and experts will no longer have the answers. In wave energy, nothing is ever finite, meaning it's not fixed. Everything is constantly flowing, redefining, seeking a new relationship of collaboration and creation. It is an infinite expression that is continuously recreating. What if there was never an answer? What if there were no instructions? What if there were no maps, no rule books? That, my friends, is pure creation. That is living in the now. And that is where we are headed. Buckle up. It's about to get extremely interesting. That blows my mind because if you think about it, it's what we always say, live in the now, be present, pure creation.
Mhm.
But for that to be possible at all, nothing is ever an answer or fixed. It is always fluid. I just love this concept. I just love it, love it, love it. And I could think about it forever and always see it differently. Anyway, Tag, you're it.
I love that. Oh my God. Like you said, like that was just so that was hitting. So we talk about it all the time, but that was hitting on such an amazing level that just what you said, it's exactly what we talk about, exactly what it's time to be. Everything is breaking down. There is no, there is no way of being. Like, that's the way I'll say it. There's no way of being. And I love when you said, and this is what we had talked about off camera. I love when you said that, all whatever, the people that we've been looking to for everything, they don't have the answers. Nobody has the answers but you. Like, you have the answers within you for each and every single one of us. And right into that reading, because why? Because everybody perceives everything differently. And we had talked about that, I think, when we were doing the When Pigs Fly, that how when you say something to somebody, you have to turn and you have to say, if you really want to make sure that they got it the way you think, now, how did you hear that? What did you hear? What do you have to do? What is that? And you'll recognize and realize that it is completely, completely different than what you thought. Or it might be, have some similarities, but that's exactly what's been happening more and more and more in today's world, in the now, that things are breaking down. Things are at that field of, you'll see something so differently and be like, that's interesting, because that's not how I ever perceived that before. If you even recognize it, sometimes we just go into that whole field of, oh, that's interesting. I didn't realize that. Well, stop and recognize, because you're not seeing it the way you used to see it. We've shifted, we've changed in so many ways. We're going deeper within continually. And they're saying on a daily basis, everybody just breathing, you're breathing in a new field, a new energy, a new existence, a new way of being, because the fields into us have finally opened. We had these shields and these, it feels like a force field, this force field within us that was preventing us from going within. And they say that force field is no longer there. We've broken it down, whether people have done the work or not, because they're saying there are some people that some would say aren't awake because they're not doing what we perceive to do. Like, they use an example like, okay, so everybody listen to this. I'm assuming you're on the spiritual path and you've been doing things, right? Like, things being whatever, I don't know, meditation, yoga, I don't know, things to help yourself be aware, right? And they're saying then there's people out there that don't do any of that. So we may perceive them as, oh, well, they're not awake. They're not going to, they're dragging down. No, they're not. They're playing their part perfectly. They too are awakening. It might not be the way we're awakening, because we have chose to come here and to awaken a particular way. So let go of that judgment of everyone and everything else. Recognize exactly what you just said, Tracy. There is absolutely impossible for two people to have the exact same perception. Impossible. It's just not the way of being. Just like impossible for two people to be exactly 1000% the same. Impossible. It can't be. So you're saying, so why would we think other people would think the way we would or understand it the way we would? And they're saying that's the big blow up in today's society, because people are wanting and needing so badly and so desperately to, you need to see this my way because this is the only way. They're saying those people that are really, really in that anger piece of that, or like, this is the only way that there is, are fighting the energetic changes. They're stuck in the in-between. They're saying, so, picture the energy, A energy over here on the left and B energy on the right. And then there's that middle ground in between the two. We'll call that C. They're saying they're stuck in the C energy. They haven't made a decision of what way I'm going to go. We're going to go to A, I'm going to go to B. Either one is proper. Well, they're saying all three of them are okay, but there's going to come a time where that C energy is going to no longer exist, because it has to merge. All of them are going to merge into one emerging energy and shift and change with each component. And they're saying still nobody's going to be the same, but you will at least go into a field of, okay, I hear your words, but no, they're saying I'm listening to your words. I don't hear them, but I'm feeling the energy behind it. And they're saying the feeling of the energy, the feeling of, even, go back, and I said this on the last episode too, go back, close your eyes, play what Tracy was reading again, close your eyes and feel it, feel the energy to that. You will be amazed at what you start to feel. The more you do it with these readings, the more you're going to feel an awareness, an awakening, an opening. They're saying, and it's more than an opening within our own energetic field. They're saying it's an opening within the true field of one. And even when they're saying one, they're saying it's so limited. It's so much bigger than that, but it doesn't have a word. So they're using the word one. And, they're saying you're going to start to recognize and realize how big you are in the world and the big piece that you play, and how playing small and trying to get other people to understand or to know what you think is the truth, what the human form thinks is the truth, is not the way it is. And you're just going to a lot of times just be, you're just going to stand there and be, and people will be saying things to you. They're saying it's going to be okay to be and not say a word, because the energy, your field is going to transform and transform and transcend what needs to be. Sorry about rambling about that, but go. That was awesome.
That was big. That was good. And it's I was thinking when you were talking, how it's going to start getting really kind of fascinating and confusing and all the things, because this whole feeling thing, words are going to lose so much potency, I'll say. And I've said this a lot lately. Two people are, like, are you buying what you're selling? Because I've noticed people just, and I've even saying, like, school teaches us to do this, read, regurgitate, read, regurgitate. And I question everything now. I was just in the Grand Canyon and they were talking about all the history, and I kept going, maybe, because we don't know. It's what someone wrote in a book and then got translated. Like, everything is such a maybe. And, or, I will be in conversation. I'll be like, well, from your perspective. And it really charges people because they either need to be right, have to be right, but I putting it out there, breaking down, like if everyone started a sentence of, well, we don't really know, but here's one perspective. And I mean, no topic is excluded, none. Well, science says, well, math has shown. No, no, we don't really know, but here's a perspective. I just find it fascinating because the feeling is going to be so much more authentic feeling than people's words. And I'm telling you, practice it, try it, go out, listen to people what are saying. And Renaé, we have said many stories off camera about this, and not even really intending to talk on this topic of you can really start to feel like, wow, you're just regurgitating crap that, so I just say to people, you buying that?
You're buying that Kool-Aid?
Exactly.
I love that.
And I would attest, especially through the end of the year, it is going to get so much more predominant and prevalent of watch. Like you will be able to watch people. What's the Charlie Brown? They'll be like, "Rah, rah, 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 rah," and you're like, yeah, I hear what you're really putting out, and it's not what your words are saying.
So
So,
true.
in a good way, in a good way. Like I think this is all awesome. All awesome.
I agree. I agree. We are really in for some really amazing times. And the healers always say all experience have been amazing. But from my perspective, like we don't really know for sure, but 1% perception of this is we're like walking into gold. Like, oh, this is going to be so phenomenal, and to watch and to hear the changes, and how great is it going to be when somebody's out there like going crazy, and instead of you being like, oh my god, either jumping on the bad wagon or looking and be like, oh my god, they're crazy or whatever, just being and having no whatever, no feeling towards that, no whatever, you're just in that neutral space, knowing, if you're really paying attention, knowing that your energy of you just being is transcending and transposing that whole situation, and everybody will see that differently. And they're saying what's going to start to happen is people that are just being will start to transcend and transpose the energy field, and all of a sudden somebody can be there screaming at somebody and then just stop and be like, I'm sorry, I don't even know what I was doing, because the energy is going to shift. That they can stay in that field, because so many people are buying into, oh, they're crazy, or they're this, or oh my god, don't pay attention to that. But it's the judgment that's going there. But when you just are, when you just stand and you just be, there is none of that. It can't exist. Like, how awesome is that going to be? Like, oh, I can't wait. Like, I love, and I know that that's already happened, because they're showing me a couple instances where that's already happened and they didn't even recognize it. But now we've talked about it. everybody who's listening to this is in this, energy field. You're going a little deeper within. You're going to stop and you're going to, re-listen to this, the part where Tracy had talked, or had read her part of her book, and you'll feel that going in, and that's going to be open up more. And if you don't, if you do get the book, or even if you don't, like if you get the book, put the book next to the bed or under your pillow or whatever, man, the energy that comes through is crazy cool. And I always wake up feeling so completely, I'm going to say readjusted, like realigned, restructured. Like it's a different feel. And I'll admit, like there'll be sometimes like I don't, but because I'm so used to it, it's just becoming a way of life now. Where like, at the nighttime I'll go to bed, I'll have like the stack of your books there, or just like whatever, like, okay, these ones can't be here, and I'll go put them on like the fireplace or whatever. I'm like, okay, here, these would be here next to my bed or under my pillow. But I know that they're just in the real, they're in the room, they're in the field. So what I need, you'll get. And that's what anything. So if you don't get the book, like, okay, I'm just going to bring the energy through, because she's talked about it. But the minute she's talked about, you're in the field, you're in the whole energetic field of not just that one, but of all the pages. So sit and feel that. And I will admit, like sometimes, like before I got all your books, I would sit there because you were talking about the reclamation. And I was like, oh, I'm going to like go into that energy aspect of it. Like, I want to feel, because I know that's freaking awesome. And to feel that was amazing. And then when I got the book, I was like, oh my God, like, I knew something amazing was in it because the Amazon package came. And I remember holding the package, and it was like this envelopey thing, right? So I remember holding, I'm like, whoa, like you could just feel energy going in. I'm like, whoa, this is something really exciting. I rip it up. I'm like, well, of course it's your book. So it was crazy. But then even that night, I could feel a total difference from when I was just like stepping into the field. And they're saying eventually that won't happen. Eventually we'll just all be. But I mean, to me, it's just crazy. It's crazy cool, the energy that goes into these. And I'm a huge advocate, for her books and all that. And, I think if you got even one, like you will be amazed. But check them out. I'm going to put the link to her author page as well, in the description in that. So, okay. Anyway, sorry, went off on that. What do you got,
Thanks,
Tracy?
Renaé. Thanks for the promo. You're so good to me. But yes, exciting stuff. So tap in, and I'm with you. You just know it's here, and it's just gonna get more and more amazing. So
Choose wisely, just be.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
And if you
feel it.
like this, hit the like button, the subscribe button, because we post whenever during the week. So you'll always get notified when we pop up. But
Yes.
until then, have an awesome time creating your day. Choose wisely, and let's go.
Let's go.